Year award. Since then, he went on to win co-holder of the U.S. Tag Team Championship. I'm referring to Les Thatcher, who will be with me throughout the balance of the program. And Les, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Gordon. It's a pleasure to be with you, and a great pleasure to be here on Georgia Championship Wrestling.
And I'm going to be counting on Les to lend his expertise in this great field to bring his comments, particularly during this Georgia Heavyweight Championship match. In fact, right now, let's turn it over to our ring announcer, Jim Bell.
Ladies and gentlemen, this match for the NWA Georgia Heavyweight Championship, one fall to a finish. Introducing first from the University of Oklahoma, weighing 295 pounds, Cowboy Bill Watts. His opponent from parts unknown, weighing 237 pounds, the current NWA Georgia Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Wrestling.
Mr. Wrestling going up against Cowboy Bill Watts. Mr. Wrestling defending the title. The Georgia Heavyweight Championship is recognized by the NWA. And again, my congratulations to Mr. Paul Jones after contacting Sam Muchnick, having this match right here on Georgia Championship Wrestling. Les, it's rather unusual to see a championship competed for on television.
Yes, it certainly is, Gordon. And I would say that Mr. Muchnick, by asking for this match in St. Louis, was probably in his right. But as said earlier, Mr. Jones, going against that ruling, brought it here to the Georgia fans. And I think this is a great feat on the part of Mr. Paul Jones.
It is indeed. And Mr. Wrestling right now behind his man and has Bill Watts in a predicament. Watts, however, turning his man into the... And on the break. On the break, he caught him.
Yes, I think that right now Watts, being the great competitor that he is, but a smart wrestler also, Gordon, will be using that weight advantage. And I look for Bill Watts to try and take Mr. Wrestling down to that mat where that weight can come in very handy.
Wrestling, let him fly with a good forearm smash. Another one that has one stacked in the scissoring leg guard. Bill Watts going out underneath the ropes trying to escape.
Bill Watts went in there trying to bully Mr. Wrestling, and certainly Mr. Wrestling throwing those forearms right back and with a lot of force himself. So I would say that if Bill Watts didn't have a lot of respect before, Gordon, he certainly has a lot of respect for Mr. Wrestling at this point.
Certainly no question about that. And Watts now circling his man, and you can almost read the respect in his eyes. Mr. Wrestling could be called Mr. Cool when it comes to competing in the ring.
Yes, I've seen this man wrestle many, many times, and certainly he has it all together. And I think the tougher the competition, the tougher the situation, Mr. settles in and does a fantastic about thinking his opponent.
Excellent move on the part of Mr. Wrestling, going into that sleeper hold, and the referee calling for the break. And Cowboy Bill Watts complaining about being choked. However, looping right hand that caught Wrestling on the chin, dropped him to the canvas.
Yes, a sharp kick in there, and certainly Wrestling took that blow hard going down, but kicking Watts away. Watts going to that turn, driving Wrestling's head in there, and he took a hard fall there, Gordon, and certainly he is dropping from that one.
Watts keeping that foot on the throat of Mr. Wrestling, coursing off that oxygen supply to the head, and Wrestling dropped to the canvas.
I think with two fine competitors here and two great wrestlers with great amateur backgrounds, you would expect to see more wrestling, but with this situation as it is, I think this one should end up being a knockdown, drag out before it's all over, Gordon.
No question about that. Mr. Wrestling with both feet over the ring ropes. And Watts moving in with an obvious choke, the referee calling for the break.
Watts certainly wants that championship back, Gordon. There's no doubt about that, and he is going all out. He is probably psyched up for this match more than I have ever seen the man in competition before.
Well, he's a strange enigma, I'll tell you. Bill Watts is a very, very strange individual. Some of the tactics he's used, some of the approaches to this profession he's used, I'm sure everybody finds leaves a lot to be desired. Mr. Wrestling outside the ring trying to shake those cobwebs free now.
He has that count out there, and certainly he should take the full extent of it, Gordon, to catch with Watts choking him down, using those knees, and now Wrestling ready to go again, and I'm sure that he will be a little more leery at this point of Bill Watts. But thus far, I'd say a very even match, and if you had to give it on points, Gordon, it could come right down to a draw at this point.
I would certainly have to agree with you there, but
Wrestling trying to go in behind Watts, but Watts moving around beautifully.
Good knee lift. Good knee lift by Mr. Wrestling, and Bill Watts leaving the ring this time.
Watts taking that back door, and now he's going to take that count. I think he's a little flustered at this point. He thought maybe he'd outmaneuvered Wrestling there, but Wrestling came back with some of the tactics that Watts used earlier in the match. And right now, I think Bill's going to take a little time to clear the cobwebs and possibly change a little bit of his strategy.
Of course, it's interesting. Watts, a very clever competitor as well as a giant of a man. Again, Mr. Wrestling circling him, watching him carefully, moving him, collar and elbow now. Both men, again, I think both men have changed their strategy somewhat.
Yes, you know, this is a hard type of match, Gordon, for a professional wrestler. You want to throw all caution to the wind. But then again, you must be very careful because only a 3-second count is all it takes to lose.
Ooh, he's got him in a backbreaker. He's got him in a backbreaker. That might be it for Mr. Wrestling. He took a tremendous blow to the back that time.
Looks like he's going for it again. He does. A second backbreaker, and certainly this must be it. Two very devastating backbreakers there by Bill Watts, and going for a full Boston Crab, Gordon.
He's got him in the Boston Crab, and this, of course, is the very hold that defeated Mr. Wrestling number 2. Wrestling 1 threw in the towel for Wrestling 2, and I'm afraid that we're going to see a new Georgia. No! He broke it. He broke it. What a tremendous second effort.
Fantastic, Gordon, with all that weight sitting in there. Mr. Wrestling with a great second effort.
Yeah, but he's in a lot of trouble now, Les. He's in an awful lot of trouble.
Yes, that back is in bad shape, and Bill Watts taking... Look at that.
Caught him with a knee.
Wrestling going on instinct alone, I think, now at this point, because certainly that back has to be hurting him. Watts with that abdominal stretch.
He's got him. He's got him, and this has to spell the end for Mr. Wrestling.
Certainly, he's worked that back over good, and with this abdominal stretch, a lot of power being applied there, but Wrestling with another beautiful effort takes him over in a hip lock, Gordon, and trying for a pin.
I don't know how he could possibly do that with the punishment he's taken to that back already. How he could possibly even continue. A normal man, I'm sure, would be hospitalized at this juncture. Excellent shoulder smash by Mr. Wrestling, coming off. Ooh!
Oh, over those ropes with his throat. And Watts rises to the occasion. Looks like he's going to try for the pin again. And he has it, Gordon.
Wrestling 2 in almost a superhuman effort, breaking the hold, but it was just a half second late. A half second late. He came down across his throat. And so Cowboy Bill Watts has won the NWA Georgia Championship. He's outside the ring screaming for that title belt. And so the new champion, as we saw just now, is Cowboy Bill Watts.